Hello everyone, this is Nurstar speaking from the Aeon team, and today I would like to welcome you to the first video of our Skill of the Day format, where we analyze the skills that you can run with the Aeon agentic framework. First, we'll analyze what Aeon is, how you can leverage it. Then we'll also show you in this very first episode how to install Aeon agents, and then we'll fire our very first Aeon skill. But first of all, what is Aeon? It is an autonomous agentic framework for orchestrating and managing skill-based workflows across messaging, scheduling, and on-chain execution. But let's have a look at how you can install Aeon on your device. And it's a very simple process, and you can manage to run your Aeon agents in minutes. So first of all, from our own website, aeon.fun, you can access our repo. Our Aeon repo that has almost 550 stars so far, and it has been forked 190 times. And so first of all, you can read the README section. You need to have some prerequisites, which are Node.js installed on your device, a GitHub CLI dashboard. So you need to authenticate your GitHub account, and then you need to fork the repo, the Aeon repo, and make your own copy, which is going to be the repo where your agents will run from, and they will run from GitHub Actions. They will log all the actions they will do. They will save that into your forked Aeon repo, and obviously you can make it private. So then you will have to choose your LLM. So if, for example, if you have a Cloud Code Max subscription, simply authenticate with that, and Aeon agents will use that LLM. Then you need to add a channel, a receiver, I would call it like that, because this is the channel where you will receive all the results or the skills that you will schedule. The results and the updates will be sent to this channel. Let's take an example, Telegram. So you will have to set up a Telegram bot, and you will give the token of the bot to your Aeon agent, and it will use it to send the results of your skills, basically. Then you will have to pick skills, to choose the skills that you want to run. So each skill shows the API keys and MC servers it needs with one-click setup. Then you simply run. So it's a run now on any skill to try it immediately. API keys and var values apply directly, so you don't need to push. And when you change configuration, so you change schedules and toggles, you just have to push commits to GitHub in one click so that GitHub Actions runs it on Chrome. And that's it. Aeon runs unattended on a public repo. GitHub Actions menus are free. So run /onboard anytime to verify your setup. So we can also have an overview of what Aeon skills can do. For the time being, we have 183 skills in our skill catalog. And for example, we have different packs. We have the core pack, which includes skill repair, auto research, create skill, all skills that maintain your skills basically, and your skills are your agent behavior. And when a skill gets stuck, the agent heals itself using these skill repair skills, for example. Then there are flitter replication, spawn instance, deploy prototype, a vuln scanner, so you can use skills to scan your repo for bugs. Research and content skills, development and code skills, crypto and markets and financial market skill, on-chain security, social writing, productivity, agent operations, and so on. So as I said, Aeon agents heal themselves, and we can also analyze the anatomy of a skill run. So our markdown file becomes a running agent. GitHub Actions fires on schedule through a aeon.yml first matching skill wins. Cloud Code boots in the sandbox, reads CloudMD who am I, runs skill.md prompt, and then it gets sent to your receiving channel. Let's take Telegram, for example. Then Haiku scores the output and it logs to memory. And then it proceeds to the next run. Before moving to the first skill of our series, I would like to also show you what makes Aeon different from the other agentic frameworks. For example, Aeon can run unattended on a schedule. It self-heals when skills fail. It monitors its own output quality. It has persistent memory across runs. It has reactive triggers that auto-responds to conditions. It fixes its own broken skills. It has zero infrastructure, so it uses GitHub Actions. And it reasons about tasks in an autonomous autonomous way. So on one end, other agents are interactive tools that you can use. Meanwhile, Aeon is an autonomous agentic framework that you can just configure and let it work on its own. And yeah, so it's, we can see here this chart about the path towards being an autonomous agentic framework. So interactive, cloud code, very interactive. Then it goes, once it proceeds from cloud code to Hermes to OpenClaw, it becomes more autonomous. And finally, with Aeon, it reaches the final autonomous status. So you go from driving the agent to just configure it and forget it, and it will drive on its own. Aeon never sleeps. So now let's start with the first skill of our series. So now let's talk about skills. And before doing that, I want to let you know that on our page, aeon.fun, you can also find a dedicated section to our skill catalog. And as you can see, we have 183 skills so far being usable, and they are also divided in packs. And yeah, today we are analyzing 2 skills that are default skills, which means that when you set up your Aeon agents, you will be able to run these skills from the very first moment. And we'll be talking about 2 skills instead of 1 because they are related to each other. And it would be also very tricky to show you the potential of one skill without talking about the other one. So the first skill is Heartbeat, which is basically the watchdog of Aeon agents, and it can run 3 times a day. For example, you can choose it to run it in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. And it basically reads cron state JSON, so every skill's history, success rates, last error, and then it checks for things which are anything failed last run, anything dispatched and never reported back, so is it stuck, anything failing 3 times in a row, an API is probably down, for example, anything below 50% success rates, so chronically broken. So it basically watches your scheduled skills and it lets you know if there's something wrong. And then obviously checks GitHub for stalled PRs and urgent issues. Then it checks memory for anything you flagged for follow-up. And it logs a heartbeat okay and moves on. Otherwise, you will get a Telegram message with a report on the things that have to be fixed. Then we are also going to run digest, which is basically your daily report. You give it a topic, so AI agents in our cases, and it will run in 3 phases. It will gather information, it will filter the information, it will distill the information, and then it will send a report to you. So for example, in the gather phase, it casts a wide net, web search with a broad query, web search with a narrow one, XI for the Twitter signal. In that case, you will need your X API and out keys. And yeah, maybe you can also scan Acre News or Reddit, and it pulls 15 raw candidates of the most important news in that field, in our case in the agents field. Then it has a filter phase where the noise is killed, and so no source links is dropped. If they are older than 36 hours, they get discarded. If it is just pure speculation, they get dropped. And if it has already been covered in the last 3 daily logs, it also gets dropped. And if there are 2 sources telling the same story, only one gets kept. And then there is the distill phase where it picks the 3 to 5 strongest elements. It leads with the most actionable, the one where you can do something today. And each item gets a headline, a 2-sentence summary, and a white matters line, together with a link. Also, before running them, why I decided to put them together, because they are the default skills, as I said, and the heartbeat keeps the system in check. Meanwhile, they just gives you the first piece of useful content per day, and it gives you an idea of the reports that you can get also with other skills. So now let's move to executing these skills. So this is the AI agents digest that I just received. So I will read it for you. So there is a TLDR section at first, reading a new agent jacking attacks turns a public centric key into code execution on Cloud Code, Cursor, and Codex. While Anthropic's 400K session study finds domain expertise, not coding skill, predicts who succeeds at agentic coding. So news number 1, agent hijacking. A fake sentry bug report can hijack your AI coding agent. Tenet security showed anyone holding a target's public sentry DSN can post a crafted error event whose markdown the Sentry MCP server hands to coding agents as trusted output, and the agent runs it. Tested against 100 plus orgs at an 85% success rate, 2,388 orgs found exposed. Sentry declined a root cause fix on June the 3rd. Why it matters if you point Cloud Code, Cursor, or Codex at Sentry MCP. Untrusted telemetry is now a code execution path. Add human review or deploy Tenet's open source agent Jackstop today. Then there is the link of the source. Then we have the news about Anthropic, domain expertise, not coding skill, predicts agentic coding success across 400,000 code sessions, 235K users from October 2025 to April 2026. Non-engineers reached a verified success 29% rate of the time versus 34% for software engineers, nearly even. Expert users do 12 actions and 3,200 words per prompt. Novices, 5 actions and 600 words. Why it matters: staffing agentic work toward domain experts in review roles, maybe stacking senior engineers. Then there is the code. Then the third news: Neuralink ships Autopilot SRE agent and ground truth agent data tools. Autopilot is an out-of-the-box SRE agent that triages incidents, finds root causes, and scopes fixes the moment an alert fires. Ground Truth exposes Neuralink's observability data directly to GitHub Copilot, Cloud Code, AWS DevOps, or custom orchestrators. Available in summer 2026. Why it matters: gives agentic incidents response a native data substrate instead of scraping dashboards. And then there is the link. Also worth a glance: OpenAI Codex Record and Replay, demo and Mac workflow once replayed as a reusable agent skill, shipped on June the 18th for non-EU users. And then you have the link to it. And yeah, so this was an example of a digest report that you can run also multiple times a day if you want, and you can run multiple digests for different topics, as I showed you about. And then there is an example of heartbeat message. So for example, I wasn't using this skill actually. I deactivated it some weeks ago because I wanted to do a sort of reset in terms of skills. I was a bit playing with my aeon agents. I had to give a look at something, so it was disabled, and now I reactivated also for this tutorial, and I will keep it as well. And yeah, so for example, it tells you that there are 2 red alerts about fleet degraded due to the pause and self check, telling you that this skill wasn't run for a while. And then there is the blue mark, which is just about additional information. So it's not an alert, but it gives you some more infos that you should be aware of. So yeah, we ran the first 2 skills of our series, the heartbeat one and the digest skill. And we saw how you can run them. And so yeah, this is how skills results also look like most of the time. And we'll be analyzing different skills in the upcoming episodes. I hope you liked this very first inaugural one. And yeah, just recapping it, we had an introductory section about Aeon, what it is, how Aeon agents behave. We had a look at our skill catalog, and then we had a deep look on the first skills that we picked up, which were heartbeats and digest. So thanks a lot for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our Aeon YouTube channel, and see you on the next skill of the day video. Take care, guys. See you.